The Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association presents Matinee Madness. Matinee Madness is presented by the Ohio State University Veterinary Medical Center, El Dorado Scioto Downs, Winterwood Farm, and Wire-to-Wire Wealth.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Matinee Madness. It's our third matinee of the 2025 racing season. I'm Frank Frost. So glad to have you along with us today. We've got a great day here at the great Darke County Fairgrounds in Greenville, Ohio, as we get set for 18 races. We're also going to have 3 gate schooling events as we try to get these 2-year-olds and these babies ready for the upcoming season. 18 races, 10 paces, 4 trots, and then we've got 4 doubles where we're going to have pacers and trotters together out there. But beautiful day, bright sunshine, we've got blue skies, white puffy clouds, but we got some wind, and that's making it just a little bit chilly today. 71 horses scheduled to go here in our matinee, and we'll be back with our first race right after this.
Racing is back at El Dorado Scioto Downs. Catch the excitement all summer long. Live racing every Tuesday through Saturday nights. First race post time is 5:45. Mark your calendar to see the future stars with a $150,000 Next Generation on July 5th. Thrilling harness racing at El Dorado Scioto Downs. Horse players can earn points with the Caesars Reward Program. El Dorado Scioto Downs. Live racing is back.
Since 1974, Winterwood Farm has been producing top-of-the-line standardbred racehorses. Captain Kirk, Mission Accepted, and Stockade Sealster continue that tradition. Captain Kirk is the son of Captain Treacherous and took a career mark of 147-4 as a 4-year-old. Mission Accepted, the 2-time Ohio Age Trotter of the Year, has career earnings of over $1.4 million. Stockade Sealster, the 2022 Dan Patch 2-year-old Pacing Colt of the Year, Winterwood Farm, breeding champions for over 50 years.
With more than 300,000 horses in Ohio, the economic impact of the equine industry in the state is over $2.8 billion. Much of that value comes from standardbred horse owners, breeders, trainers, and drivers who participate in the sport of harness racing. The mission of the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association is to preserve, protect, promote, and serve the entire standardbred industry in Ohio and beyond. To learn more about the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association, go to ohha.com. That's ohha.com.
Welcome back to Matinee Madness, joined now by John Ingram and Tiffany Ingram, our starters today. Something a little different today. We got gate schooling.
Yep.
What exactly is gate schooling?
It's basically teaching the young horses how to go behind the gate for the first time. You want to have a really good experience because it might affect how they do for the rest of the summer. A bad experience on some colts, it'll take them a while to get trusting the gate from then on. So you want to have a really good experience, get them familiar with it, and relax and come on into the gate when they race.
Do you have to do anything different speed-wise, just so they're comfortable back there?
Normally we go a bit slower so they're calmer. They come in slower. Some of them might want to weave in and out when they're behind the gate. So you want to keep a nice consistent speed, but you also want to go just a tick lower than what you normally would go. You normally about a third of the speed when you first start out, and then up the stretch you won't come out as near as fast as you would in a race. So it keeps them all together and they trust the gate.
Now, when we get going with races today, will you do anything different? Will you take them around, especially the 2-year-olds, an extra time maybe before we start the race?
We generally start right at the top of the stretch, pick them up, and then pull them all the way around, and take them and turn them loose. They get about 1.25 miles behind the gate, or well, 1.25 laps behind the gate. And usually when they first start out, they want to weave in and out, but by the time we get to the backside and to the 3/4 pole, they seem to straighten up and come on. But, you know, when we speed up a little bit more, they get a little more confidence because they start going straighter, quicker, so there's less to go. The slower you go, the more they'll move. The faster you go, the straighter they'll be.
Now, Tiffany, everybody talks about the starter. That's all you hear. Well, you're the most important person. He's the one talking about, faster or slower, but you're the main person out there. You got to keep it going straight.
You got to keep it in a straight line. The most important thing about driving the starting gate is that you don't look behind you. No matter what happens, you got to just keep on going straight.
People talk that you control the speed until all of a sudden it goes and then she takes over.
Once the words go given and we close the wings, Tiffany takes over the speed, gets up and gets up out of the way. I take over at the 1/4 pole. From then on, it's me all the way to the start. And once the wings open up and close, When they close, she's in control of the speed, and I'm just a passenger at that point.
Now, do you two ever argue in there?
Now, come on.
Actually, John will tell you the most important part about having a team in the starting gate is that you got to listen to each other.
Yeah.
So you got to work well together. And even when I'm not the one driving for him, he has a couple other people that are really good at knowing what he expects and how he does things. So
It's very important to have people that work really well together, because no matter what I do, if she's not doing her job, it don't matter what I do. If I'm not doing my job right, it's hard on her too. So communication the whole time. What people don't see in that gate is we're talking constantly from the minute we open to close, where we're at on the track and where we're getting ready to let go. Every fair track's different. We have different spots we have to let go and pick up. So communication is 100% important when it comes to doing the fairs and the matinees.
Well, let's have a safe day today.
I sure hope so. Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Well, with the gate schooling completed now for the first 2 of our 3 gate schooling sessions, it's time to take our focus and look at this first race today here at the Greenville Matinee. This will be a pace with a time bar of 2:05 to 2:10, 4 to go behind the gate. The number 1 is the Town Mailman. Robert Werner will be in the bike for trainer Craig Bowman. This is a 2-year-old colt by Welsh Said out of Highway to Rock. Mark Kulina of Columbus is the owner of the Town Mailman, who was a purchase at the Blooded Horse Sale for $7,000. The number 2 is Deputy Jack. Chris Hope will be in the bike for trainer Fletcher Davis. This is a 2-year-old gelding by Fear the Dragon, one of 2 Fear the Dragons in this race, out of Leave 'em in Stitches by Roll with Joe. Miller Racing Stable and Fletcher and Jennifer Davis are the owners of this 2-year-old gelding. The number 3 is Beantown Dragon. Ryan Miller is the trainer of this Fear the Dragon colt out of A's of Page. This 2-year-old is owned by Michael Goldberg Racing. Dalton Walls will get the call to do the driving today. And the number 4, also a Ryan Miller trainee who's very busy today. Chattahoochee is the 2-year-old colt. Ryan Miller will be driving this lather up colt out of Hoochie Girl, lather up standing at Sugar Valley Farms. Let's pick up the action of race number 1.
They're at the top of the stretch. They're up the turn. They're on their way home. The Town Mailman, Beantown Dragon, Deputy Jack on the outside.
Our first race is in the books, and it was the number 1, The Town Mailman, with Robert Werner driving for Craig Bowman, going gate to wire to win in 2:09. First quarter time 34 seconds, half in 1:07, 3/4 in 1:39. The final time 2:09, right in the middle of that time bar, which was 2:05 to 2:10. Finishing second was Beantown Dragon, Dalton Walls for trainer Ryan Miller. Third was Deputy Jack with Chris Hope for Fletcher Davis. And finishing fourth was Ryan Miller with Chattahoochee. And Ryan Miller also trains around the final turn there. Beantown Dragon and Dalton Walls tried to make a race of it, trying to pull alongside of the Town Mailman, but the Town Mailman just a little bit too much to win the first of our 18 matinee races. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll have race number 2 from the great Darke County Fairgrounds.
Since 1974, Winterwood Farm has been producing top-of-the-line standardbred racehorses. Captain Kirk, Mission Accepted, and Stockade Sealster continue that tradition. Captain Kirk is the son of Captain Treacherous and took a career mark of 147-4 as a 4-year-old. Mission Accepted, the 2-time Ohio Age Trotter of the Year, has career earnings of over $1.4 million. Stockade Sealster, the 2022 Dan Patch 2-year-old Pacing Colt of the Year, Winterwood Farm, breeding champions for over 50 years.
At Ohio State's Galbraith Equine Center, our veterinary champions are here for your champions 24/7, 365 days a year.
Our expert team of boarded surgeons, sports medicine and rehabilitation specialists, together with veterinary cardiologists, internal medicine, and ophthalmologists, make our hospital your best resource for all sport horse performance issues. The Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center's Galbraith Equine Hospital. Call us today at 614-292-6661. Welcome back to Matinee Madness here at the Darke County Fairgrounds, joined now by Ryan Miller. And Ryan, big day for you. You got a couple going into gate schooling, and then you're on the road heading up to Cleveland for the Sire Stakes.
Yep, we got to go up there with a 3-year-old pacing colt named John I Love Dat, and hopefully have a little luck tonight.
Been a tough winter for you, training-wise, getting on the track and everything. Have you caught up to where you want to be with your young horses?
We're a few weeks still behind. Speed-wise, I guess they're getting close, but physically, lung-wise and everything, I think they're still a couple weeks behind, but I'm not too worried about it. You know, they'll get there when they get there. I'm not worried about it.
Today, gate schooling mainly for your horses, and what goes into that on your end, trying to keep them calm behind the gate for that first or second time?
A lot of times, actually, I think the first time they are really calm. They can be a little squirrely, but a lot of times they're not too bad. It's the second and third time they get behind the gate, they start getting aggressive. I've handed the lines over to the guys to qualify, and by the second time, they're like, man, you might want to get some earplugs in this thing. He knows what it's about. So that's what we're just getting behind the gate. Most of them will stay fairly calm the first time, as they're kind of nervous about it. And then the second one, they start to figure it out. The third time they're behind the gate, they're perfect.
Now, talking to you earlier today, you're really not too excited about your horses at this point. Still too early in the game, isn't it?
Yeah, just being a couple weeks behind. Normally I would start to kind of know a little bit more about my stock. I still feel we got another couple weeks to go before we can really put the hammer down on them, and that's okay. So we'll get there, and eventually we'll find out. The good ones will come out and the bad ones will sink.
When do you get excited?
I don't really. The first qualifier, you know, obviously is a nice test. It's not the end of the world. It depends on the horse. Some of them, you could tell that it's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks of racing until they finally get life figured out, racing figured out. And the other ones, they kind of quick right off the bat, and they're sharper. They're a little more mentally mature and prepared. But after they race once or twice and find out what level they go in, that's when we can kind of get a little excited or disappointed.
Good luck this year.
Thank you, Frank.
Want to thank Ryan Miller for his time today. Ryan was very busy this morning. When we got here, he had the horses out training and jogging and getting ready, and then he had the gate school horses, and then he had the two in that first race that we just saw, and quickly loading it up, and he is now on his way to Cleveland for the Ohio Sire Stakes first leg that is starting and kicking off at Northfield Park today. So we're ready for our second race of the day. This is the pace with a time bar of 2:10 to 2:15. We've got 2 2-year-olds in this race and a pair of 3-year-olds as well. The number 1 is Vel I'm Good. Alvin Schwartz trains. This is a 2-year-old colt by Straight Shooting. The King Racing Stable of Wilshire, Ohio are the owners. This horse was bred by the trainer, Alvin Schwartz. The number 2 is Ramble on Strawberry. And this is a Dan O'Mara trained and driven filly by Well Said out of Apple and Strawberry. Gail Carson of Canover, Ohio. Marjorie Paul Hamus of Ludlow Falls, and Douglas Carson, also of Conover, Ohio, are the owners. Now, this horse does have a little experience. Raced 3 times last year, did not hit the board, earned just $424. Raced in at Troy, Wilmington, and at Circleville, and was distanced in all those, so took some time to mature. Is now going to start back as a 3-year-old. The number 3 is Dat's Last Shot. Clint Coy will be in the bike for trainer Lucien Bolin. This is a Straight Shooting gelding by out of Run Tell Dat by Sportsmaster. Indian Creek Farms in Indiana are the owners. This horse had an extensive 2-year-old season, started 14 races, did win once. That win came back on September 5th. 4 seconds, 3/3, earnings over $8,000. And the number 4 is Vel, Think Before You Drink. Alvin Schwartz is the trainer and the breeder of this Let's Drink on Colt out of Miss Intuition. So that's the field for the second race here at Greenville. Let's pick up the action.
They come to the top of the stretch. They're off the turn. They're on their way home. Bell, Think Before You Drink. Bell, I'm Good on the outside. Bell, I'm Good, and dug right out in the final strides.
Race number 2 is in the books, and our winner was Vel, I'm Good. Dug right out, was in the bike, sat in the pocket as they came around the final turn, went to the outside and charged down the stretch to come away with the half-length victory over the number 4, Vel, Think Before You Drink, with Clint Coy in the bike. Second was Ramble on Strawbear. Braden Addis was in the sulky, and finishing fourth, Chris Hope with Dat's Last Shot. Quarter in 34 in 4, 109 for the half, 3/4 in 140. Final time 2:08, below the 2:10 to 2:15 time bar that was set for the second race. Our third race today is going to be an open pace, and it's the Hunter Meyers Memorial here at the Darke County Fair grounds for this, the Matinee. Hunter tragically lost his life earlier this year in a racing accident over at the Meadows. We will have 4 horses that have all raced in the last year. A couple of them, 3 of them in fact, have seen action here in 2025. Our number 1 will be Legendary Knight. Robert Werner will drive for Craig Bowman. This is a 3-year-old gelding by Bit of a Legend and out of Enhance the Night. This was a $31,000 purchase at the Ohio Select Sale. Still waiting to make his first start in his 3-year-old year. Last year as a 2-year-old, 10 starts. Did not win a race, had a second and 2/3, and earned $3,053. The number 2 is My Girl Lizzie. Jeff Nysonger scheduled to drive for Brian Jones. This is a 3-year-old filly by Well Said out of Radar Trap. Mandy Jones is the owner of My Girl Lizzie. 1 start so far in 2025. That came at Scioto Downs on May 9th in the McCoy series. Finished 4th in that race. The number 3 is Manny. Amelia Smith scheduled to drive for Randy Smith. This is a 12-year-old gelding by American Ideal out of Foolish Kiss, owned by Jessica Smith. 15 starts this year, does have a win. Earnings of over $17,000. Last year in 35 starts, a couple of wins, 7 seconds and 4/3. Lifetime 298 starts with 33 wins, earnings over $500,000. And our number 4 will be Jetstream. Daniel Shelter owns and drives this 6-year-old gelding by Jeremy's Jet out of Look Again Ida. 5 starts this year, a win and 2/3, earning over $10,000. So let's pick up the action of this, the Hunter Meyers Memorial Open Pace.
As they come to the top of the stretch, Manny and Amelia Smith with the lead by 3 on the outside. My Girl Lizzie coming to the line. It is all Manny and Amelia Smith.
Wire to wire for Manny. Amelia Smith in the bike for Randy Smith, owned by Jessica Smith. This is that 12-year-old gelding by American Ideal. This year has 15 starts already with 1 victory. Comes away with the win by about 7 lengths in this, the Hunter Meyers Memorial. Second was a toss-up between My Girl Lizzie with Jeff Nysonger and Jetstream and Daniel Shelter. We really don't have a finish line, so we're kind of guessing where that line is. And 4th place went to the number 1, Legendary Knight and Robert Werner. Quarter in 29 and 4. 59 for the half, 129 for 3/4, 158 and 4 for the winner, Manny. Amelia Smith driving. just 14 years old, picks up her first victory ever, and this one was in the Matinee here, so big crowd going to be down in the winner's circle for her. We're through 3. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll pick up more action from the Greenville Matinee.
Joe Fresh locks it down in the Breeders' Crown and a record 6 crowns for Dexter Dunn.
With over 30 years of experience in wealth planning and a lifetime of involvement in harness racing, Matt Franklin at Wire to Wire Wealth can help you build a financial plan that addresses the unique circumstances of those involved in the horse racing industry. Whether you are investing to build wealth, protect your family, or preserve your assets, Matt at Wire to Wire Wealth will work with you through the wealth planning process from start to finish.
Hi, I'm Dean Gillespie, and I want to tell you about the Ohio Colt Racing Association. There's 19 member fairs, and they sponsor the Partial Futurity in Greenville, Ohio. You need to race in the OCRA. Great racetracks, great people. Bring the kids and come out to the fair, and remember, fair time is fun time.
Welcome back to the Greenville Matinee here at the Great Darke County Fairgrounds as we get set for our 4th race today. This is a pace 2:10 time bar, 4 to go behind the Mike Wepkenberg starting gate with John Ingram driving today, or starting. The number 1 is Dancing in My Sleep. Scott Ferguson will drive. He also trains this 3-year-old filly by Dancing Yankee, owned by Marjorie Polhamus. Did not start as a 2-year-old, so just getting that career going now. The number 2 is Call Me Charlie. Harvey Toops will drive. Scott Ferguson also trains this We Will See 3-year-old gelding out of Real by Real Desire. Toops Stable of New Carlisle, Ohio is the owner. The number 3 is Susie Cruiser. Robert Werner is in the bike. He also trains this 3-year-old filly by Yankee Cruiser. Yankee Cruiser, a $1.2 million earner, stood at Midland Acres. And the number 4 is Little Miss Sure Shot. Doug Rideout gets the call in the bike for Steve Livingston. This is a 2-year-old Fear the Dragon, owned by Full Tilt Farms. Now, Little Miss Sure Shot is named after Annie Oakley. Annie Oakley was born here in Greenville, and the Annie Oakley Museum is here. So if you're ever in the area, stop by and visit the museum. Annie Oakley's grave, she's buried just off of 127 in a cemetery here. So we will see how Little Miss Sure Shot does if she can win one for Annie Oakley. Let's pick up the action in the 4th.
They're all 4 covered by some 2 lengths. They come to the top of the stretch. Little Miss Sure Shot, Susie Cruiser, Call Me Charlie, Dancing in My Sleep. 4 of them across the track. They're all chasing Little Miss Sure Shot. Little Miss Sure Shot is almost there. It's Little Miss Sure Shot.
Susie Cruiser went to the lead, but it was Little Miss Sure Shot able to take over the lead and then hold off Susie Cruiser down the stretch to win the 4th race here. Time bar 2:10 pace, 32-2 for the first quarter, 105-4 at the half, the 3 quarters in 137, 2:10 and 2/5 was the final time in the race. Little Miss Sure Shot, trained by Steve Livingston. The 2-year-old filly by Fear the Dragon out of A Little Starstruck. Full Tilt Farms of Union City, Ohio. The owners of Little Miss Sure Shot, who is named after Annie Oakley, the Greenville, Ohio native. So that's the 4th race in the books. Let's take a look now at our 5th race. This will be our first trot of the day, and this is a time bar of 2:15 to 2:20. 4 to go behind the gate. The number 1 is Bravo Alpha. Doug Rideout will drive. He also trains this 2-year-old colt by $50 bill out of Life Dream, owned by Rideout of Winchester, Indiana, A. White, also of Indiana, B. Gamble of Bedford, Ohio, and the DNS stable. The number 2 is Country Glide. Melvin Schmucker will be in the bike. He is also the trainer. This is a tactical landing 2-year-old filly owned by Yacht Club 104 or 140 out of Delray Beach, Florida. The number 3 is Hosting Station. Berlin Brower drives and trains this in-range 2-year-old gelding out of Holiday Promise. And the number 4 is Knoxville Lindy. Dalton Walls will be in the bike for trainer Ronnie Gillespie. Ronnie not here today. He is at the Ohio Sire Stakes up at MGM Northfield Park. This is a 2-year-old filly by Ready for Money out of Nashville Lindy. These are all 2-year-olds. The number 3 Hosting Station is the most expensive yearling we have here today. Was sold for $60,000 at the Lexington Select Sale by In Range. In Range stands at Hickory Lane Farms. Was second in the Breeders' Crown. It took a time of 1:51.4. Let's pick up the action in the 5th.
They're at the top of the stretch. They're off the turn. They're on their way home, and Bravo Alpha clinging to that lead. Country Glide up the inside. Hosting Station coming to the line. Bravo Alpha.
Our 5th race was supposed to have 4 horses, but was scratched down to 3 as Knoxville Lindy was scratched, the Ronnie Gillespie trainee. It was Bravo Alpha with Doug Rideout going gate to wire to win the 5th in 2:14.3. Bravo Alpha took the lead. Hosting Station was sitting second, but coming after the half, Country Glide with Melvin Schmucker moved up into second, but could not catch and corral Bravo Alpha. So Bravo Alpha, the $50 bill 2-year-old colt trained by Doug Rideout and driven by Doug Rideout, comes home a winner in 2:14.3. 34 for the first quarter, 110 for the second quarter, 144.1 for 3 quarters, 2:14.3 the final time. It was a time bar of 2:15 to 2:20. I want to thank our friends at Daily Racing Form Harness for keeping me warm as the sun has disappeared behind the clouds and the winds picked up. So want to thank DRF Harness for my little shirt here. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll have races 6 and 7 when we return to Greenville, Ohio.
Since 1974, Winterwood Farm has been producing top-of-the-line standardbred racehorses. Captain Kirk, Mission Accepted, and Stockade Sealster continue that tradition. Captain Kirk is the son of Captain Treacherous and took a career mark of 147.4 as a 4-year-old. Mission Accepted, the 2-time Ohio Age Trotter of the Year, has career earnings of over $1.4 million. Stockade Sealster, the 2022 Dan Patch 2-year-old Pacing Colt of the Year, Winterwood Farm, breeding champions for over 50 years.
The Ohio equine industry needs your help. I'm Scott Mogan, president of the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association. With over 300,000 horses in Ohio, the economic impact of the equine industry in the state is over $2.8 billion. That means jobs that pump millions of dollars into the local economy and support thousands of families. For Ohio's equine industry to remain strong, we need to send a clear message to our legislators about the important role that the agricultural small businesses play in Ohio's economy. To do that, we need your help. PACER, the Political Action Committee for Equine Racing, helps support and inform on issues that could positively affect Ohio harness racing. Please consider a donation to PACER. To donate, visit our website at ohha.com or call 614-221-3650. Your donation will help keep harness racing strong in Ohio. Thank you for your support.
Welcome back to Matinee Madness, joined now by Mandy Jones. Mandy, you and your dad are the brains and the force behind this thing. What does it take to put this matinee together?
There's a lot of work that goes into it. Getting all the officials, the timers, the race sponsorships. We do our concession stand, entries. It's everything. It's a lot.
What does the money for this go to?
We do maintenance around our barns, our track upkeep. We try to put it back into our organization to better the facility and everything here.
Now, you drive during the summer months at the fairs and everything. What do you like about driving in the Ladies Series?
Mostly the adrenaline rush. It does give us a better opportunity to get out there instead of being behind the scenes. So it showcases our abilities as well.
Now, will you get an adrenaline rush today when you're out driving your dad's horse?
I do, just because I don't do it all the time, so it still is, and I get nervous, but it's still fun.
Your dad's horse is dancing again, a 2-year-old filly. What do you like about the horse?
She's a little fireball. She's not very big. She's about as wide as she is tall, but she will try. She'll give it all, and she's just a fun little horse.
Now, are there any horses in the Mandy Jones barn? Because you usually have a couple of your own. Any right now?
I just bought one. I'm not supposed to say, but my horse I had last year, yes, I did. He rounded his circle and came back. I bought him 30 days ago today, so we'll try to get him back to the races.
Well, good luck getting him back to the races. What do the fairs mean to you?
It's just fun. It's something our dad and I have done our whole lives together. It's our thing. We don't have a lot of horses, but it's something that we enjoy and that we can do together.
You can't beat that father-daughter time together, can you?
Correct, yes.
Well, good luck today.
Thank you very much.
We want to thank Mandy Jones and her father, Brian, for everything here to help make our job easier, to help bring you Matinee Madness from the great Darke County Fairgrounds. Also want to thank our sponsors who help make this possible: the Ohio State University Veterinary Medical Center, El Dorado Scioto Downs, Winterwood Farms, and Wire to Wire Wealth. Want to thank them for helping sponsor this so we're able to bring you these shows. Well, the 6th race was a gate schooling session, so that has taken place. So now we're going to move on to race number 7. This will be a time bar of 2:15 to 2:20. It'll be a trot. We're down to 3 for this field. The number 1 is Trottin' Marseille. Chris Hope will drive for Bill Webb. This is a 2-year-old colt by Marseille, which stands at Sugar Valley Farms. Took a lifetime mark of 151.4. Bill Webb of Defiance owns the Trottin' Marseille. The number 2 is Creating Dreams. Dalton Walls will drive for trainer Bruce Walls. This is a creatine, a 2-year-old filly out of Steph's Dream by Uncle Peter. Creatine was a $2.1 million earner. And the number 3 is Her Wish. Doug Rideout will drive. He also trains this Swan for All 2-year-old filly out of Swish and Flick. Julie Rideout and Billy Rosen and Ryan Raber are the tri-owners of Her Wish, which was sold at the Hoosier sale for $13,000. Let's pick up the action for these 2-year-old trot.
They come to the top of the stretch. Exciting Dreams, a filly by Creatine, shows the way. Her Wish is second. Trottin' Marseille third. They're inside the final 16th. It's Exciting Dreams. Exciting Dreams and Dalton Walls.
The 7th race is in the books. It was gate to wire for number 2, Creating Dreams. Dalton Walls drove for Bruce Walls, who co-owns with Gina Bowman of Westerville, Ohio. The 2-year-old Creatine is out of Steph's Dream. Creatine stood at Sugar Valley Farms, earned $2.1 million in his career. Creating Dreams was a $10,000 purchase at the Ohio Select Sale. Dalton Walls took the filly to the lead and never looked back. We did have our first two breaks of the day. Going to the half, the number 1 horse, Trot and Marseille with Chris Hopes, went off stride, and then coming down the stretch, both Her Wish with Doug Rideout and Trot and Marseille went on breaks. 35 minutes for the first quarter, or 35 seconds, pardon me, for the first quarter, 1:10 for the half, 1:43 for 3/4, 2:13 and 4/5 for the final time. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll have more of Matinee Madness from the great Darke County Fairgrounds in Greenville, Ohio. At Ohio State's Galbraith Equine Center, our veterinary champions are here for your champions 24/7, 365 days a year. Our expert team of boarded surgeons, sports medicine and rehabilitation specialists, together with veterinary cardiologists, internal medicine, and ophthalmologists, make our hospital your best resource for all sport horse performance issues. The Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center's Galbraith Equine Hospital. Call us today at 614-292-6661.
The future is bright in Ohio. Ohio Sire Stakes, Buckeye Stallion Series, 66 county and independent fairs. Whether it's the Ohio Sire Stakes, the Buckeye Stallion Series, or the county fairs, Ohio has a place for your racehorse. This year, Ohio breds are racing for nearly $23 million in stakes purses. Be part of the winning. Breed, buy, race, win in Ohio. Racing is back at Eldorado Scioto Downs. Catch the excitement all summer long. Live racing every Tuesday through Saturday nights. First race post time is 5:45. Mark your calendar to see the future stars with a $150,000 Next Generation on July 5th. Thrilling harness racing at Eldorado Scioto Downs. Horse players can earn points with the Caesars Reward Program. Eldorado Scioto Downs. Live racing is back.
Welcome back to Greenville, Ohio, and Matinee Madness. The Darke County Harness Horsemen's Association want to thank all their sponsors today who have helped make this matinee possible. The Mike Albright Stables, the Ted Garan Stables, Marjorie Paul-Hamus Stable, Steve Livingston and Kenneth Gower Stable. We had the Hunter Meyers Memorial, the Bruce Walls Stable, Brian and Mandy Jones Stable, Katie Dirksen Stable, Steve Bowder Stable, Mike Wepkenberg, the Dalton Walls Stable, the Ryan Miller Stable, Fletcher Davis Stable, Kent Wilcox Stable, Hope Stable and Tom Baker, the Bobby Werner Stable, Jody Flommersfeld Stable, Bowman Stable, Jason Deal Stable, and the Tim Rex Stable. And thanks to them, help make all of this possible here for Matinee Madness from the Darke County Fairgrounds. We're getting ready for our 8th race. This is going to be a 2:10, 2:15 time bar for the pace. We have 4 scheduled to go behind the gate. The number 1 is Born Fearless. Doug Rideout will drive for Steve Livingston. This Fear the Dragon filly is owned by Full Tilt Farms. The number 2 is Vel Big Shocker. Alvin Schwartz is the breeder and the trainer. This 2-year-old colt by Straight Shooting is the only colt in the race. The rest are fillies. The number 3 is City of Fear, which was an $11,000 purchase at the Buckeye sale. City of Fear will be driven by Chad Williamson, who also is the trainer. This is a Fear the Dragon out of City Delight. And the number 4 is Vel You Can Do It Cupcake. This is a filly by Keystone Velocity out of Cupcake Craze. So in this race, we have 2 Fear the Dragons. Fear the Dragon in 2024 was the Ohio leading money winner sire, second, only 2 down by the seaside. So let's pick up the action of race number 8.
They come to the top of the stretch. On the front end, City of Fear on the inside. To her outside is Vel. What a shocker. They're off the turn. They're on their way home. It is City of Fear. City of Fear. City of Fear over Vel. What a shocker.
It was another gate-to-wire win, this time in the 8th race. The number 3, City of Fear with Chad Williamson, who trains and drives for Claude Richard Estelle of Oakwood, Ohio, brings home City of Fear with the victory. Finishing second was Vel Big Shocker. Doug Rideout was in the bike for trainer Alvin Schwartz. Third was the number 1 Born Fearless, Jeff Nysonger, got the call to drive for Full Tilt Farms and trainer Steve Livingston. And rounding out the field was Vel You Can Do It Cupcake. Alvin Schwartz trains this horse for King Racing Stable. 33 seconds for the first quarter, 1:12.4 at the half, 1:38 for 3/4. Final time was 2:08 in our 8th race. We'll move now to our 9th race on the card. This will be also a 2:15 to 2:20 pace time bar. 4 scheduled to go behind the gate. The number 1 is Hope You Dance. Doug Rideout drives and trains this 2-year-old filly by Rockin' Image out of Mandy's Majesty. Julie Rideout, William Hart, and Chris Gilbert are the owners of this 2-year-old. Hope You Can Dance was a $53,000 purchase at the Hoosier sale as a yearling. The number 2 is Rockin' an Era. Clint Coy will be in the bike for trainer Lucien Bolin. This is a JK End of an Era out of the mare Rendezvous Hanover. Indian Creek Farms is the owner of Rockin' in an Era, a $7,000 purchase at the Midwest sale. The number 3 is Ray's Parlay Girl. Christopher Hope will drive for Bill Webb, who is also the owner of the 2-year-old filly by Cheyenne Ray. The number 4 is Racing Hoosier. Jeff Nysonger drives for trainer Tyler Cook. Noah Wengard of Wilshire, Ohio, is the owner of this 2-year-old Racing Hill colt. Racing Hill earned $1.7 million in his racing career. Wind continues to pick up here at the Darke County Fairgrounds in Greenville. A lot of clouds now forming over. The sun has disappeared. So let's bring you the action of race number 9.
They're off the turn. They're on their way home for them across the track. It is Racing Hoosier with the lead. Hope You Dance on the outside, on the grandstand side. Coming with every stride is Rockin' Era on the line. Too close to call.
Now that was a horse race as they came barreling down the stretch, 4 wide at the wire, though. It was the number 1 Hope You Dance with Doug Rideout getting up just to nip Jeff Nysonger and Racing Hoosier. It started out with Ray's Parlay Girl taking the lead after a 35-second first quarter, but then Racing Hoosier took over at the half in 1:09. They were really bunched together as they went to the 3/4 pole in 1:43. Racing Hoosier held on to the lead, but as they made the turn for home, Doug Rideout was able to find some racing room. Hope You Dance, the $53,000 purchase at the Hoosier sale, comes home the winner. Second was Racing Hoosier. Third was Rockin' in an Era as they were 3 across at the wire. We had to wait for the Brad Conrad photo to tell us who was the winner. So our 9th race is in the books, and despite the wind and the cold temperatures as it continues to dip, we still have a good crowd. A lot of people parked down at the top of the stretch in their cars watching, seeing what is going on with the racing. So let's turn our attention now to the 10th. This will be a double, so we will have both pacers and trotters in this race. Time bar is 2:25 to 2:30. In this field, we have a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a couple of 2-year-olds. The number 1 is 8 a Crowd. That's a pacer. A 2-year-old filly by Best in Show out of Dutch's Gale. Everett Crow is the trainer. The number 2 is Oh Money. Randy Smith will drive. He also trains this Ready for Money 2-year-old colt owned by Franklin Equine of Worcester. This is a 6-year-old Ohio Select purchase, one of the two trotters in the field. The other pacer is Rockin' Black Magic. Jason Deal will drive. He also trains and owns the 4-year-old gelding by Rockin' Image. Rockin' Image, 9 wins in 30 starts during his racing career. This horse did have 1 start last year, did not hit the board, finished 9th at Scioto Downs. Was scheduled to race here at Greenville on August 17th, but was scratched sick. The number 4 is Self-Timo Prize. Scott Ferguson drives and trains this 3-year-old by Enterprise. This trotter rounds out the field, was a $5 purchase, $5,000 purchase at the Buckeye Classic sale. Let's pick up the action for race number 10.
They're off the turn. They're on their way home. Rockin' Black Magic and Money on the outside. 8's the crowd. SLF Timo Prize coming to the line on the outside. Money on the line. Money.
The 10th race is in the books, and it was the number 2, Money, with Randy Smith driving and training, coming home with the victory in 2:27.3. At the start, it was Money taking the early first quarter lead in 36, but gave way to Rockin' Black Magic and Jason Deal, who led with the 1:15 at the half and then 1:50.3 at 3/4. But coming down the stretch, it was Money able to edge out the number 3, Rockin' Black Magic, 2:27.3. We're through 10. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we will have more of Matinee Madness from the great Darke County Fairgrounds in Greenville, Ohio.
With over 30 years of experience in wealth planning and a lifetime of involvement in harness racing, Matt Franklin at Wire to Wire Wealth can help you build a financial plan that addresses the unique circumstances of those involved in the horse racing industry. Whether you are investing to build wealth, protect your family, or preserve your assets, Matt at Wire to Wire Wealth will work with you through the wealth planning process from start to finish.
Hi, I'm Dean Gillespie, and I want to tell you about the Ohio Colt Racing Association. There's 19 member fairs, and they sponsor the partial futurity in Greenville, Ohio. You need to race in the OCRA. Great racetracks, great people. Bring the kids and come out to the fair, and remember, fair time is fun time.
Welcome back to Matinee Madness, and here is our announcer, the famous Doug Ballinger. 56 years of doing this.
56 years. And I'm just a baby compared to Roger Houston and Bill Peters. They both have 66.
When you started, did you think it'd be this long?
Oh, no. You know, everybody pretty much knows how I started. I heard Roger Houston in 1969 in Urbana and fell in love with his voice, and I wanted to pattern myself after him. Here it is. It's the best part-time job anybody could ever want.
Now, you do an awful lot of fairs. You do some fill-ins at the big pari-mutuel tracks. The matinees, how do you treat the matinees? Is this kind of like your spring training?
Yeah, somewhat. Yep. Matinees is a stepping stone for a lot of things. Not only an announcer, that's where I got my start. It was the matinees, but horses. The great Abercrombie raced here for Jerry Landis from Portland, Indiana. He raced here probably 1975, 6, 7, something like that. Went on to, I think he finished second in the jug, raced on the Grand Circuit. Was a great horse.
Matinees, you usually have 3, maybe 4 in the field. Racetracks, 8, 9. Easier to call a 4-horse field or a 9 or a 10-horse field?
9 or 10 any day. Yeah.
Why is that?
It's just a repeat so quick with just 4 horses. You got to throw a little filler in. When you get 9 and 10, it flows pretty good.
You've been doing this for 56 years. You did Rambling Willie's first start. Over those years, any others really stand out to you?
I can remember coming here as a senior in high school. I had just started to announce races, I believe. My first call was at a Lima Matinee in June of 1970. But in 72, I graduated and came here in August because Roger Houston was announcing. I wanted to hear Roger. And J-Time, Gene Regal, was racing against Batman and Bruce Nichols. Those were two big names back in '72, and they went in 1:59.4 here that night. And that was unheard of at a county fair, 1:59.4 J-Time. 2 years ago, I announced Charlie May's race here, 1:50. Who would ever dream, you know?
It's amazing how fast they're going.
Oh, yeah. It is. It's just amazing. I saw some great ones. My favorite race was probably Life Sign and Gene Regal winning the jug, but Wiglet Jiglet, that race that day was something at Delaware when he came back. That was a great race.
One of the best in the business, Doug Ballinger. If you're ever at the Darke County Fairgrounds, make sure you go in the grandstand and down below, and you can see Doug's plaque. He's honored with a plaque for his 50 years of service. You know, I may take a picture of that, get it blown up, and ask him if he'd sign it for an autograph for me. But we're getting ready now for our 11th race. We have 3 going behind the gate. This is a time bar of 2:10, 2:15 pace. The number 1 is Vel Easy on the Chrome. Alvin Schwartz is the trainer. This is a 2-year-old colt by Straight Shooting. The number 2 is Vel Summer Cheers, the only filly in the race, also trained by Alvin Schwartz. This filly is by Let's Drink on It out of Flip Flop Summer. And the number 3 is The Muffin Man. Chad Williamson drives and trains this Catch the Fire 2-year-old colt owned by Gary Gillen. This is a $12,000 purchase at the Buckeye Classic sale. Let's pick up the action of race number 11.
They come to the top of the stretch. Vel Summer Cheers. The Muffin Man on the outside. They're off the turn. They're on their way home. The Muffin Man getting up on the outside. Vel Summer Cheers on the inside. Vel Summer Cheers.
Doug Rideout took Vel's Summer Cheers to the lead and never looked back, holding off a late charge down the stretch from the Muffin Man and Vel's Easy on the Chrome. Vel's Summer Cheer, a 2-year-old filly by Let's Drink on It out of Flip Flop Summer by Jenna's Beach Boy, owned by King Racing Stable of Wilshire, Ohio, comes home in 2:09.3. First quarter was 34 seconds. 1:09 for the half, 1:43 for 3 quarters. Final mile, 2:09.3, just below the 2:10 to 2:15 time bar. Next up in the 12th, we're going to have our second double of the day. We have 3 pacers and 1 trotters, and the sires of these 3 pacers, unbelievable careers on the track. The trotter in the field is the number 1, Bag Full of Surprises. Alvin Schwartz is the trainer. This is a 2-year-old filly by Help is on the way out of the mare Bags for All. The number 2 is a pacer, AVF Felicity. Jeff Nysonger will drive for Tyler Cook. This is a Fear the Dragon 2-year-old filly owned by Lucky 5 Stables. The number 3 is Always on Some Beach. Randy Smith owns, trains for Jessica Smith. This is a 2-year-old filly by Always Be Mickey. And the number 4 is Sinful on the Beach. Dan O'Mara is scheduled to drive for, and he also trains. Sinful on the Beach is owned by Scarlet Stables. It is a 2-year-old colt by Huntsville out of Sinful City. When you take a look at these 3 pacing sires, Fear the Dragon, $1.57 million in earnings. Always Be Mickey, $2.7 million in earnings, and Huntsville, $1.7 million in earning. Huntsville was a world champion as well. Let's pick up the action for race number 12.
They arrive at the top of the stretch. The leader to the inside. Always on Some Beach to the outside. Bag Full of Surprises. AVF Velocity on the grandstand side. AVF Velocity closing on the outside. AVF Velocity over Always on Some Beach.
Jeff Nysonger came flying home down the stretch with AVF Felicity to take home the win in race number 12, the double today that had 3 pacers and 1 trotter. The 3 pacers finished 1, 2, 3. The trotter was in 4th. It was AVF Felicity winning it. Second went to Always on Some Beach. Third was Sinful on the Beach, and the trotter, Bag Full of Surprises, made a break down the stretch and finished 4th. 36 in 4 for the first quarter, 115 for the half, 150 for 3 quarters, and 223 and 3 the final time for the mile. The time bar was 220 through 225. We are now through race number 12. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll pick up more action from Matinee Madness in Greenville, Ohio.
At Ohio State's Galbraith Equine Center, our veterinary champions are here for your champions 24/7, 365 days a year. Our expert team of boarded surgeons, sports medicine and rehabilitation specialists, together with veterinary cardiologists, internal medicine, and ophthalmologists, make our hospital your best resource for all sport horse performance issues. The Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center's Galbraith Equine Hospital. Call us today at 614-292-6661.
Joe Fresh locks it down in the Breeders' Crown and a record 6 crowns for Dexter Dunn.
Since 1974, Winterwood Farm has been producing top-of-the-line standardbred racehorses. Captain Kirk, Mission Accepted, and Stockade Sealster continue that tradition. Captain Kirk is the son of Captain Treacherous and took a career mark of 147-4 as a 4-year-old. Mission Accepted, the 2-time Ohio Age Trotter of the Year, has career earnings of over $1.4 million. Stockade Sealster, the 2022 Dan Patch 2-year-old Pacing Colt of the Year, Winterwood Farm, breeding champions for over 50 years.
Welcome back to Matinee Madness, joined by Dalton Walls. Dalton, how's spring been for you so far?
A little cold, a little wet, but the babies seem like they're doing good, so far so good.
How many you got in the barn this year?
I've got 3 of my own, and I work for Ronnie Gillespie. He probably has 18 or 19 total.
So today you're down for the matinee, you're down to drive a few, you got 1 or 2 of yours in. What do you want to get out of a day like this at the matinee with the horses?
Just a good experience, really. A bad one's going to take you a lot longer to kind of get habits out of them, so just hopefully all 4 feet on the ground and good manners is the biggest part of today.
How do you do that with these horses?
Just the biggest thing is you really don't want to see horses gunning out or getting too nervous behind the gate. I think getting nervous and making mistakes is what creates really bad habits. So just trying to keep them as quiet and happy as you can.
Are you where you want to be with your horses right now in terms of where you are in the spring with the races starting soon for the babies?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident the 2 I have in today. I think they're right on schedule. So we'll see. Really, the starting gate kind of lets you know where you're at for sure. And some of them hold up and some of them fold up when you kind of put the pressure to them. So.
What kind of expectations do you have this year for yourself and for the horses?
I think the 2 horses I've got in today, I think they're nice, kind of more average type horses. I don't think either one's a great horse, but they're both good gated, and I think, you never really know what they are until they qualify, but I expect them to both be, nice, solid horses.
When do you realize what you do have? How long does it take before you know, I got a good one?
The day you qualify, and usually you don't even know. Then horses train certain ways, and some of them blossom when you put them behind the gate, and some of them go the other way. I don't think you really know anything until you start racing.
Well, have a good luck this year.
Thank you.
Dalton will have a horse in the 14th race, but first let's take a look at the 13th race. This is a 2:15 time bar pace. The number 1 will be LM Tequila. Jeff Nysonger will try to make it 2 in a row for trainer Tyler Cook. This is a colt by Odds on Equilis. The number 2 is Caribbean Queen. Clint Coy will drive for Lucian Bolin. This is a 2-year-old filly by Best in Show, was a $3,000 purchase at the Midwest sale. The number 3 is a Long Shot Diamond. Harvey Toops will drive for trainer Scott Ferguson. Toops Stable out of New Carlisle, Ohio is the owner. And the number 4 is the only horse that has seen some action before. The 3-year-old gelding raced as a 2-year-old. Wyatt Said. Andrew Horner will drive for Thomas Horner Jr., who owns this 3-year-old gelding by Well Said. Last year, made 3 starts. Last race was here at Greenville on August 17th, finished in 6th place. Let's pick up the action for our 13th race.
They're off the turn. They're on their way home. LM Tequila tipped 3 wide on the grandstand side. LM Tequila, a Long Shot Diamond, Caribbean Queen as they come to the line. LM Tequila on the far outside. LM Tequila and Jeff Nicehunger.
Jeff Nicehunger and LM Tequila took the long way around that final turn, took over the lead, and then came charging home to win by half a length over the number 3, a Long Shot Diamond. Harvey Toops driving a Long Shot Diamond. Third went to Caribbean Queen and Clint Coy. We were scratched down to 3 from the original 4 horses. Wyatt Said a late scratch. 36 and 2 for the first quarter, 113 for a half, 145 3/4. Final time 2 minutes and 17 seconds and 4/5. So that's the look at the 13th. Next up is the 14th. This will be a 2:10 time bar for the trot. We have 4 going behind the gate. The number 1, Country Diamond Lady. Melvin Schmucker drives, trains, and owns this 2-year-old filly by What the Hill. The number 2 is Sissy's Chrome. Berlin Brower drives, trains, and owns. This filly is by Southwind Chrome out of Fear Her Makeup. The number 3, Hidden Brook Monty. Dalton Walls drives and trains. This horse is owned by Adrian Hochstetler of Apple Creek, Ohio. The 2-year-old colt by Ready for Money. And the number 4, Tony Pacco. Robert Werner drives, trains, and this horse, it was a $5,500 purchase at the Buckeye Classic sale. Hidden Brook Monty was sold for $17,000 at the Buckeye Classic sale. Let's pick up the action of the 14th.
It's Tony Pacco and Bobby Werner, Hiddenbrook Monte and Dalton Walls on the outside. Up the inside is Sissy's Chrome. Through the lane, Tony Pacco on the outside. Hiddenbrook Monte. The 2-year-old by Ready for Money and Dalton Walls.
Tony Pacco opened up the lead heading to the quarter in 32 and maintained that lead through a 105 half and 138 3/4. But in the end, it was Dalton Walls with Hidden Brook Monty coming around that final turn, charging down the stretch and able to come home the victor in 2:09 and 1. Hidden Brook Monty, a $17,000 purchase at the Buckeye Classic sale, is a 2-year-old colt by Ready for Money out of Little Flower. So Dalton Walls brings home the win in our 14th today. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll have our 15th and our 16th from the Great Darke County Fairgrounds right after this.
With over 30 years of experience in wealth planning and a lifetime of involvement in harness racing, Matt Franklin at Wire to Wire Wealth can help you build a financial plan that addresses the unique circumstances of those involved in the horse racing industry. Whether you are investing to build wealth, protect your family, or preserve your assets, Matt at Wire to Wire Wealth will work with you through the wealth planning process from start to finish.
The Ohio equine industry needs your help. I'm Scott Mogan, president of the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association. With over 300,000 horses in Ohio, the economic impact of the equine industry in the state is over $2.8 billion. That means jobs that pump millions of dollars into the local economy and support thousands of families. For Ohio's equine industry to remain strong, we need to send a clear message to our legislators about the important role that the agricultural small businesses play in Ohio's economy. To do that, we need your help. PACER, the Political Action Committee for Equine Racing, helps support and inform on issues that could positively affect Ohio harness racing. Please consider a donation to PACER. To donate, visit our website at ohha.com or call 614-221-3650. Your donation will help keep harness racing strong in Ohio. Thank you for your support.
Welcome back to Matinee Madness in Greenville, Ohio. We are at the Darke County Fairgrounds as we get set for race 15. But first, we'd like to make our sponsors who help make Matinee Madness a possibility. They are Eldorado Scioto Downs, the Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center, Wire to Wire Wealth, and Winterwood Farm. So we'd like to thank our sponsors. This is a 2:10 to 2:15 time bar. We have 4 pacers to go behind the gate. 1 3-year-old, the other 3 are 2-year-olds. The number 1 is our 3-year-old, and that is a colt, Chasing Romeo by Rodeo Romeo. Misty Werner will be in the bike. Katie Dirksen is the trainer. The number 2 is Vel Bruiser. Doug Rideout gets the call to drive for Elvin Schwartz. This 2-year-old colt is by Straight Shooting. The number 3 is Vel Mr. Don't Drink. Clint Coy is in the bike. This filly is by Let's Drink on It, trained by Elvin Schwartz. The number 4 is Smith and Western. Chad Williamson drives. He is also the trainer. This horse is owned by Red Rock Racing of Convoy, Ohio. It's a 2-year-old colt by Western fame. Was a $10,000 purchase at the Ohio Select Sale. So let's head down to the track and pick up the action for race number 15.
As they come to the top of the stretch, Chasing Romeo to the inside. Smith and Western, Chasing Romeo. They're off the turn. They're on their way home. Racing on the grandstand side is Chasing Romeo. Coming to the line, Chasing Romeo. It's Chasing Romeo.
In the 15th, Chasing Romeo went to the lead, and that's what the rest of the field did, was chase Romeo, but they could not catch him as Chasing Romeo comes away the winner, the only 3-year-old in the field. The colt by Rodeo Romeo comes home the winner in 2:12 for Misty Werner and trainer Katie Dirksen. Mr. Don't Drink made it close, got up to the wheels of Chasing Romeo as they hit the 3/4 mark, but in the end, too much with Chasing Romeo. 35 for the first quarter, 111 for the half, 143 for 3/4. Final time, 2 minutes and 12 seconds for your winner. Chasing Romeo. Vel Mr. Don't Drink was second. Finishing third was Vel Bruiser. Smith and Western was fourth. Now let's take a look at our 16th race. This will be a double, a time bar of 2:15 and 2:20. 1 trotter, 3 pacers. All of them, though, are fillies. The number 1 will be Meadowbrook Ashley. Doug Rideout will drive. He also trains. This colt is owned by Judy Rideout, Alan White, and Dave Gamble. This was a $10,000 purchase at the Hoosier sale. The number 2 is 8 Second Flash. Misty Werner will be in the bike. For Katie Dirksen, they will try to go back to back with 8 Second Flash, the 2-year-old filly pacer by Rodeo Romeo. The number 3 is Dancin' Again. Mandy Jones will drive for her father, Brian Jones. Mandy owns this Dancin' Yankee, a 2-year-old filly. Was a $5,000 purchase at the Buckeye Classic sale. And the number 4 is Racing Artist. Chris Hope will drive for Bill Webb, who owns this Racing Hill pacer. You talked about Rodeo Romeo, a winner last race. We'll try to go back to back. Rodeo Romeo stands at Hagemeyer Farms. Let's pick up the action for race number 16.
They come to the top of the stretch, and 8-second flashes trying to take them all the way. Meadowbrook Ashley, Racing Artist on the outside. Racing Artist is on the grandstand side. 8-second flash to the inside. Racing Artist, but it's 8-second flash.
Back-to-back for Misty Werner and trainer Katie Dirksen. They won the last race. They won the 16th as Misty Werner took 8-second flash to the lead, and the 2-year-old filly by Rodeo Romeo never looked back. Chris Hope with Racing Artist tried to make it interesting as he went from last up to second as they came down the stretch. It was hanging on, 8-second flash to pick up the win. Meadowbrook Ashley was third, and Dancing Again finished fourth. Time of the race, 35 for the first quarter, 111 for the half, 145 for 3/4. Final time, 2:14 and 4. Again, your winner, 8-second flash. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll have the final 2 races of Matinee Madness from the Darke County Fairgrounds when we return.
Since 1974, Winterwood Farm has been producing top-of-the-line standardbred racehorses. Captain Kirk, Mission Accepted, and Stockade Sealster continue that tradition. Captain Kirk is the son of Captain Treacherous and took a career mark of 147-4 as a 4-year-old. Mission Accepted, the 2-time Ohio Age Trotter of the Year, has career earnings of over $1.4 million. Stockade Sealster, the 2022 Dan Patch 2-year-old Pacing Colt of the Year, Winterwood Farm, breeding champions for over 50 years.
At Ohio State's Galbraith Equine Center, our veterinary champions are here for your champions 24/7, 365 days a year. Our expert team of boarded surgeons, sports medicine and rehabilitation specialists, together with veterinary cardiologists, internal medicine, and ophthalmologists, make our hospital your best resource for all sport horse performance issues. The Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center's Galbraith Equine Hospital. Call us today at 614-292-6661.
Welcome back to the Darke County Fairgrounds in Greenville, Ohio, as we wrap up our Matinee Madness from Greenville with 2 more races, the 17th and the 18th. The 17th will be a 2:15 to 2:20 time bar for the trot. We will have 4 go behind the gate. Of this, we'll have 1 3-year-old who did race last year as a 2-year-old, and then 3 2-year-olds who are getting ready for their freshman season. The number 1 is Country Power. That is the 3-year-old in the field, a $15,000 purchase at the Lexington Select Sale, owned and driven and trained by Melvin Schmucker. This is a 3-year-old gelding by Bar Hopping last year. 7 starts, did not hit the boards, had earnings of $1,550. Did make a qualifying start earlier this year, back at the end of March, finished in 3rd. The number 2 is Hillcat. Dalton Walls drives, trains, and owns this 2-year-old filly by What the Hill, an $11,000 purchase at the Ohio Select Sale, the only filly in this race. The number 3 is He Knew We Did. Doug Rideout drives, trains. This horse is owned by Julie Rideout, C. White, T. Dieter, and M. Burton, a 2-year-old colt by You Know You, a $24,000 purchase at the Hoosier Sale. And rounding out the field is Captivate Money. Jeff Nysonger drives for Dan Krebahenny. This is a Ready for Money colt that is racing for the first time here in the matinee as a 2-year-old. So let's pick up the action of our 17th race.
A field of trotters come to the top of the stretch, and they're being led by Hillcat. Captive Money, the Pracer on the outside. Coming 3 wide is Country Power, and He Knew He Did. Through the lane, it is Hillcat. Between horses, Captive Money on the line.
Our penultimate race on the card goes to the number 4, Captivate Money. Jeff Nysonger drives for Dan Krebahenny. This is a 2-year-old colt by Ready for Money. Comes in 2:14 and 3/5. Hillcat with Dalton Walls went to the lead, and that's where that horse sat until up the back stretch. Making the move was Captivate Money with Nysonger, finally able to take over the lead as they came roaring down the stretch. It was Captivate Money, the winner. He knew he did, with Doug Rideout finishing second. Finishing third was Hillcat, and rounding out the field, Country Power. 36 seconds for the first quarter, 1:12 for the half, 1:44 for 3/4. Final time 2:14 and 3. The time bar was 2:15 and 2:20 for the trot. And we're going to wrap it up now with our 18th race of the day. This is a pace, 2:10, 2:15 time bar. 5 scheduled to go behind the gate. The number 1 is Always Be Sinful. Scott Ferguson drives and trains this Always Be Mickey, owned by Scarlet Stables. The number 2 is Vel See You Later, an $8,000 purchase at the Hoosier sale. Alvin Schwartz trains for Terry Hensley, a 2-year-old colt by Highlighter. The number 3 is Pixie's Prize. Scott Ferguson drives, trains, and owns this Better's Wish 3-year-old filly. The number 4, Vel Charlie L. Charlie. Alvin Schwartz drives for the King Racing Stable of Wilshire, Ohio. And the number 5 will be Savage Cindy. Dan O'Mara is scheduled to drive. He also trains. This horse is owned by Scarlet Stables. So these are the 5 that will wrap things up here from the Greenville Matinee. And let's pick up the action.
They come to the top of the stretch with less than 1/8 of a mile to pace. It's Vel Charlie with the lead. Pixie's Prize is second. Savage Cindy on the outside. Vel See You Later. Vel See You Later.
The final race of the day goes to the number 2, Vel See You Later, with Clint Coy, who made the move after the 3/4 pole to grab the lead and able to hang on for the photo finish. Finishing second was Vel Charlie. Third went to Pixie's Prize. Fourth, Savage Cindy. And finishing fifth was Always Be Sinful. 33 seconds for the quarter, 1:07 for the half, 1:38 for 3/4. Final time 2:08 and 1 for your winner. Vel See You Later. Clint Coy was in the bike for Alvin Schwartz, the 2-year-old colt by Highlighter. That'll wrap it up from the Darke County Fairgrounds in Greenville, Ohio, for today's edition of Matinee Madness. I want to thank our sponsors, Winterwood Farms, Wire to Wire Wealth, Eldorado Scioto Downs, and the Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center. We want to thank the Greenville Harness Horsemen's Association for all their help to make this possible today. So for Stephen Taylor, who worked the camera today, I'm Frank Froz saying so long from the great Darke County Fairgrounds in Greenville, Ohio. Have yourself a pleasant day.
This has been Matinee Madness. Matinee Madness is presented by the Ohio State University Veterinary Medical Center, Eldorado Scioto Downs, Winterwood Farm, and Wire to Wire Wealth. Matinee Madness is a presentation of the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association.